This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing, that Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing, that Super Bowl ring. Yeah. We in the lab room.
Welcome to this In the Lab Room Super Bowl Spectacular! That's right, football fans. It's Super Bowl time. The time has come to finally put a pretty bow on the 2014-2015 season. And I can't think of a better way to do it than to have the best team in the NFC, the #1 seed, the Super Bowl defending champion Seattle Seahawks, taking on the #1 seed, the best team from the AFC, the New England Patriots. This is probably the best matchup we could have gotten. You could argue that it could have been Packers and the New England Patriots. We've seen that game already this year. You could argue that it could have been the Colts and the Green Bay Packers, or the Colts and the Seattle Seahawks. Those would not have produced the best matchup in terms of the two best teams in the league in their respective conferences. I think the NFC side, even though you could argue the Packers were literally 5 minutes away from winning that game in the NFC Championship game, you could argue that they weren't the best team in the NFC. Same goes for the AFC. I think we all knew who was coming out of the AFC. I think the minute the New England Patriots clinched home field advantage throughout in the AFC playoffs, I think we all came to the foregone conclusion that they would be the representative from the AFC. Some of you may have come to that conclusion sooner than that. At the end of the day, it does not matter. The football gods got it right. We got probably the best matchup that we could have hoped. We got the best outcome. Now all we have to do is hope that the game looks nothing like the one we got last year. Because remember, last year was 1 seed versus 1 seed as well in the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks. So we're hoping that this year does not repeat last year's performance in the game itself. Now, if you're a Seahawks fan, you're hoping that this game looks exactly like last year. For any football fan out there other than a Patriots or a Seahawks fan, you're hoping that this game is just good, that we just get some football that actually satisfies our palates and kind of calms us down as we sit in a position ready to embark on this long, arduous journey of no football for 6 months. So, hey, leave a good taste in our mouth. Don't leave us with that nastiness we had a season ago. Last year, I made the mistake of picking against the Seattle Seahawks. And it was funny, my dad, and all of you Seahawks fans, all of you out there who, were viewing this program a year ago, can sit here and say what you want. You may have even said that you thought the Seahawks were going to win in blowout fashion. I don't recall reading one single comment a season ago that, now, there were plenty of people that thought the Seahawks were going to win, and they were right. I was wrong. But I don't recall a single person, a single viewer that I conversated with, that I conversed with before the game, that mentioned to me that the Seahawks were going to win in blowout fashion. I think everyone thought that that was going to be a nip and tuck game. You were talking about arguably the greatest NFL offense we had ever seen. Statistically, that was the greatest offense we'd seen in the NFL, as they broke records for most points scored in the season. Peyton Manning broke the most touchdown passes thrown in the season. I mean, they did everything last year you could do as an offense in the regular season, and they steamrolled through the postseason as well, and they played well, and you just thought that they were clicking on all cylinders. You look at the Seahawks, they were the model of consistency. They were dominant throughout the playoffs. They were dominant in the regular season. They had some ups and downs, especially against San Francisco in that championship game, but they overcame them and showed why they deserved to be in the game last year. But no one thought that they were going to steamroll the Denver Broncos, and they did. So I kind of learned my lesson from last year a little bit, but this is a new season, and these are two different teams. The Seahawks don't look anything like they did a season ago. Let me reiterate that. This is not the same dominant defense. Statistically, they're still #1 in the league and all of that stuff. But if you put them through the eyeball test, last year felt different. This team defensively seemed more dominant. I went into that NFC Championship game thinking that, and I've been wrong in terms of what was going to transpire throughout the course of a game. My outcomes have been pretty much spot on. I've only gotten 2 games wrong, and both of those came in wild card weekend. And really, I went out on a limb on both of those games, with the exception of the Steelers game. But I've been spot on ever since. I've gotten every game right, and so the outcome has been pretty much spot on my part. But how we get to those outcomes, I've been totally wrong. I talked about the Denver Broncos being able to get pressure on, or actually I lost that Broncos-Colts game in divisional round weekend. So actually I got 3 games wrong. But I talked about how the Denver Broncos were going to be able to get pressure on Andrew Luck and not allow him to sit in the pocket like he did in wild card weekend versus the Cincinnati Bengals, who had the lowest sack output in the entire National Football League, and definitely the lowest going into the playoffs of any playoff team. So I said, oh yeah, it didn't surprise me that Andrew Luck had time to carve those boys up. Won't happen the next week though, against Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, 2 guys that had double-digit sacks. Well, he had all day to throw the football, and he ended up doing more than enough to beat the Denver Broncos, as their defense stood up tall and shut down the Denver Broncos offense. And then the next week I said, okay, well, Aaron Rodgers is able to get by the Cowboys because the Cowboys can't generate pressure. They don't have a guy that can consistently get to the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers was able to beat them on one leg. I said he will not, I repeat, will not have that kind of time versus the Seattle Seahawks to do what it is he did to the Dallas Cowboys. I was wrong again. Aaron Rodgers had ample time in that football game. I believe he was only sacked 1 time in that game. He did a great job manipulating the pocket, moving up, and kind of navigating through the garbage and giving himself clean windows in areas in which to throw the football. I thought his offensive line did a pretty good job. For the most part, the Seahawks didn't generate a lot of pressure in that game, and I was surprised. And so I look at the matchup in this game, and I say to myself, I say it all the time, it does not change, especially when you're playing one of the elites. You have to get pressure on the quarterback. And so let's start with what the Seattle Seahawks have to do to remain Super Bowl champions. I think that on the defensive side of football, just continue to be who you are. You're arguably one of the best defensives we've seen. And, if they win this game, we'll start using that D word. I won't dare use it now, but if they win this game, we will start throwing around the D word. And yes, they will be in, a wise man once told me, don't talk to me unless you're in the neighborhood. Unless you enter my community, don't talk to me. And more... Mercury Morris always says that when people are talking about undefeated seasons and approaching the 72 Dolphins mark of an undefeated campaign, and of course the Patriots were the only team that was actually able to talk to Mercury Morris and those 72 Dolphins. And the way I look at it is, if these Seahawks are able to win this game, they will be in the neighborhood, and they'll be knocking on the door, and they'll be looking in the peephole. They'll be peeking in the peephole, looking around, being real nosy, and then we'll have to start looking at this team as one of the best, of this era. But until then, we're going to hold off on using the D word and talking about this team and what they can be in the pantheon of great teams in this league. But I tell you what, they have to get pressure on the quarterback, and it starts with the defense up front for them. They have to find a way to, first things first, turn the Patriots into a one-dimensional team. They for the most part, we haven't had any idiots this Super Bowl campaign say anything dumb, create any kind of bulletin board material or any fodder. I think the closest thing we've had from both sides, I think Jeremy Lane stepped out of line early on in the process and said Gronk wasn't a great player. And I think Pete Carroll and everybody kind of diffused that situation very quickly by coming up and saying Gronk is a great player, this, that, and the third. So it's just a young, dumb punk not knowing what to say out of his mouth. They stuck a microphone in his face. A lot of times these guys don't get a lot of opportunity to speak their mind. The same thing happened with the 49ers a couple of years back when they stuck a mic in Culliver's face and he said something about, gay players. And look, when you get one of these guys that aren't used to the publicity and they get some, they usually say something stupid. And Jeremy Lane did it. Seahawks cleaned it up quickly. And from the Patriots side, you got LeGarrette Blount spouting off at the mouth, saying something along the lines of, they're not invincible. Whoa, okay, what did he do? We all know that. And, of course, and the media, as they usually do, try to take it, blow it out of proportion, and turn it into something. A couple of Seahawks players may have gotten a little bent out of shape about it. I heard a comment from Cliff Averill. I heard a comment from Michael Bennett. But again, it wasn't that big of a statement. All he was saying is, hey, they can be beaten, which it's true. He said, we can be beaten. We're not, invincible either. Both teams have gotten to this point because they're good football teams. We'll see what happens, yada, yada, yada. No one said anything out of the ordinary. No one's given the other team any bulletin board material, which is good. So I look at it like this. Seahawks need to get pressure on the quarterback, and I think that's the key. Make this Patriots team, first and foremost, though, one-dimensional. Before you can worry about getting to Brady, before you can worry about jacking up Gronkowski, you need to stop the run. You need to make sure that the Patriots understand that it's not going to be okay to run the football in this game. They're going to try. I don't think they're going to come out. This isn't a situation where they're playing Detroit. This isn't a situation where they feel like they did against Baltimore, where it kind of beating our head against a brick wall. No need to even try to run the football. Let's just go out and have Tom Brady chuck it 38 times and see what happens. They didn't run the football at all in the second half against the Ravens in that football game. Now, some of that was out of necessity. They were down 14 early in the second half. But some of that was just, hey, it's successful. It works. They don't have any good corners. Their secondary has been decimated by injuries. Let's go after the weak link of that defense, and they did. In this case, the strength of this Seahawks team is the secondary. So you really want to force them into the strength of this team, which is getting pressure on the quarterback and forcing them to have to throw the football into the Legion of Boom. And the way to do that is to stop the run. You've been pretty good at that this season, but there were some opportunities for Green Bay to run the football with Eddie Lacy. James Starks had a huge run to start the fourth quarter on the first play of the fourth quarter with about a 32-yard run. I saw the Panthers have a little bit of success. Jonathan Stewart had some success with the running game a little bit in that game. So I feel like there are opportunities to run against this team. And I felt like they were starting to hit their stride, stopping the run and doing some things. And then Jordan Hill goes out right as the postseason gets underway and is not able to play for the remainder of the postseason. And so I think that was a crippling blow to a team that I feel like isn't as good as they were a season ago at stopping the run. Don't feel like they're as stout. And we definitely know that the interchangeable parts that you had last year at getting to the quarterback by having Red Bryant, by having a guy like Chris Clemens out there, Brandon Mebane, all those guys I thought made you more effective as a defense, especially getting it to the quarterback. Don't feel like you have that anymore. So you can stop the run and make the Patriots one-dimensional. Force them into third and long situations. Make them feel like they have to take to the air, and you know they're throwing the football. There isn't a run-pass option because Bill Belichick is not afraid to A, go for it on fourth down, and B, he's not afraid to run it on third down either, especially when the run is working. So I'd love to see the Seahawks quickly take the running game out of the game plan for the Patriots and turn them into a one-dimensional team. And again, it's not like that will not be a situation where the Patriots can't be successful, because we've seen them be successful in situations where they just are throwing the ball exclusively. So it's not something that will be a recipe for disaster necessarily, but I think it's the easiest route to a victory for the Seahawks on the defensive side of the football. And even if you don't get sacks, it's not always about sacks. It's getting Brady off his spot. Brady is a rhythm thrower, just like most quarterbacks in this league, you know, with the exception of an Aaron Rodgers and guys like that that can move and throw on the run. Most quarterbacks are rhythm throwers. They want to get back into their drop. If it's a 5-step drop, they want that back foot to hit the ground and then release the football. Brady is no different. He wants to get back there, quickly get the football out of their hands. They love to go quick passing game. They love to go up-tempo. They love to change speeds throughout the course of the game. The easiest way to break offenses down that like to go quick tempo is to force incompletions, is to put them in long yardage situations, make them have to huddle, make them a team that isn't the aggressor in this game but on their heels. And if you can stop the run, put them in long yardage situations, don't allow them to stockpile for first downs and get into a rhythm, I think the Seahawks will be better off because of it. You look at it from an offensive standpoint, I think the key to the game is going to be, and I think this could be the deciding factor in this game, is the running game of the Seattle Seahawks. Can they run the football with Marshawn Lynch? I think beast mode is the key to victory for the Seattle Seahawks, because I've seen the Patriots give up yards on the ground this postseason. I think that I really felt like Denver had a legit shot against them if they would have made it to the AFC Championship game. And I wasn't going to pick Denver, but I would have felt a lot more comfortable with Denver versus Indy than in that AFC Championship game, just because the Denver Broncos can run the football with C.J. Anderson and the Colts just don't have a rushing attack. And I saw the Ravens the week prior in the divisional round run all over the New England Patriots defense. See, look, Justin Forsett had a field day, and the Ravens had their way on the ground, and I feel like the Seahawks can do the exact same thing against the Patriots. And don't think for one second Bill Belichick isn't going to devise a scheme, because the one thing that Bill Belichick does the best, which sets him apart from all the other coaches in the league as a defensive coordinator and as a defensive-minded head coach, is that he likes to take away the one thing you do the best, okay? We've seen him do that in the past against teams where he just goes out and he says, hey, the one thing that you do well, I'm taking that away. Now, if you got an option B, you got a plan C, go right ahead, be my guest, knock yourself out. But if you don't have an option B or C, if you were relying on that one thing that got you here, well, you're in trouble, because I'm taking that away from you right now. So don't think for one second he's not going to be very vigilant in trying to stop Marshawn Lynch, because he knows that's the key to the game. Now, Russell Wilson can and will beat you if you give him opportunities to do so. But this Seahawks team is what they are because of the running game, because of Marshawn Lynch and that rushing attack. When nothing was working against Green Bay, the one thing that was the ground game and Marshawn Lynch. And that is what's going to win them the game offensively to me. Russell Wilson making timely throws. Russell Wilson taking care of the football. Can't be sloppy like he was a week ago or 2 weeks ago against Green Bay in the championship game. If they look anything like they did 2 weeks ago, the Patriots are going to win, and it won't be close. But that being said, this is a game that I think is made for Marshawn Lynch, because I don't think Bill Belichick can take away the one thing that the Seahawks do well. And I think that could be the key. We'll come back to that. Let's talk about what the Patriots need to do and their keys to victory. If you're the New England Patriots, first things first, on the defensive side of the football, it is important. I think we just talked about this with the offense of the Seahawks, which is a perfect segue. You have to stop the run. If you can't stop the run, and I don't have a lot of confidence in the Patriots' ability to stop the run, if they can't stop the run and stop Marshawn Lynch from consistently getting forward, and it's not necessarily the beast mode runs that I'm talking about. It's not the 27-yarders. It's not the 54-yard touchdown variety runs. I'm talking about a consistent beatdown of 4, of 5, of 3, of 6, of 7, of 4, of 6, of 4, of 9, of 4, of 2, of 8. It's those type of runs that wear down a defense throughout the course of the game. If they can't get in, the Packers did a really good job in the first half of slowing down Marshawn Lynch, gang tackling, running to the football, but those runs were like body punches. They were putting money in the bank, and eventually it wore the Green Bay Packers down, and by game's end, they could not stop the run, and they aren't a good run-stopping defense and hadn't been the entire season, and I don't think this Patriots run-stop defense is all that impressive, and if they continue to let the Seahawks run the football throughout the course of the game, they could be in trouble come the latter portion of the football game. If you're the Patriots, first things first, do not let the Seahawks run the ball consistently. They're going to try. You have to be able to send a message early that it's not going to be that type of football game. You have to make Russell Wilson beat you. If he beats you, you tip your cap to the Seahawks and say, job well done, you got us. You deserve to be a two-time Super Bowl defending champion. But if Russell Wilson is allowed to sit back, convert on third downs, third and shorts, they are allowed to run the football and set up advantageous second down situations. If they run and get 4 on first down and then second and 6, you can run it again and set up third and short, or you can go play action fake. If Russell Wilson has an opportunity to go play action fake, we sit here and guys talk about the Seahawks receivers all the time and what they are or aren't. Look, I know this much. You give them opportunities to get down the field unmolested, and these guys will win some matchups. Look, Darrelle Revis can't cover everyone on the field. So someone's going to have one-on-one with Brandon Browner. You know Brandon Browner, and you respect Brandon Browner, but you also know Brandon Browner can be beat, and he's also a penalty magnet. So there will be shots taken at Brandon Browner. There will be shots taken at the slot corner. There will be shots taken on safeties. There are opportunities to win against the Patriots in one-on-one situations, and even Darrelle Revis can get it on an occasion. You just have to be careful when you pick your shots at him. But I tell you what, the key to the game for the Patriots offensively, or defensively, excuse me, is being able to stop the run, make Russell Wilson beat you. And I say that with the utmost confidence. If you can make Russell Wilson beat you, you've got a legit shot to win this football game, because I don't know if Russell Wilson is going to be good enough in this football game by himself to win. Now, you allow him to play in that team environment. He's one of the best in the league. He's shown that over the life of his career. When the defense is doing their job, when the running game is doing its job, his job is made that much easier, and he's able to thrive in that environment. When you show Russell Wilson that he's got to win on his own, you get results. Like you saw last week where he struggles, he starts pressing, and look, that wasn't all Russell Wilson. Guys didn't make plays for him last week. Jermaine Kearse allowed some balls to tip off of his fingers and things of that nature, but Russell Wilson also forced some throws, made some turnovers and some mistakes last week. If you're the Patriots, that's what you're looking to create, that kind of environment where running isn't going to work and Russell Wilson has to make plays on his own. Offensively, if you're the Patriots, you want to be able to run the football. You want to be able to stay balanced, because that's going to help you win the football game. But also, I think you need to be able to change speeds effectively, because I think the Seahawks are going to want to take away the run. They're going to want to make sure that Tom Brady is going to win the game on his right arm. And then they're going to try to come after Tom Brady and make life a living hell for him. So if you're the Patriots, quick passing game needs to be your best friend, especially if the run isn't going to be as effective as it has been the last couple of weeks. You need to make sure that the short passing game is effective. If I'm the Patriots, I've got 2 keys to the game offensively. 1, Julian Edelman is not to go outside. He should not see Richard Sherman the entire game. He should not see Byron Maxwell the entire game. If I'm the Patriots, Julian Edelman is exclusively in the slot in this game. He should not be outside. I'm taking advantage of Jeremy Lane. I'm taking advantage of Tyrone Simon. Whomever is in the slot, that guy is getting worked in this game. I won't go outside as much with those big boys, with Sherman on one side. We know he's got a bad wing. It doesn't matter. The guy is still elite. I'm not messing with Byron Maxwell either because I respect him as a cornerback. I'm going after the young boys. I'm going in the slot as often as possible. Number 2, I want Gronkowski to be busy early and often in this game, and how I'm going to do that is allow him to get free releases. The way I will do that is not put him in traditional tight end sets. I want him lined up in bunch formations. I want him in motion. I want him moving around. I want him in situations where Cam Chancellor or whomever can't get a clean jam on him and allow him. Once Gronk is going down the field full head of steam, he's a load to deal with. I don't care who your safety is. I don't care how good you think you are. If he's able to run down the field and position his body and Tom Brady can hit him, you can't get around that 6'7" frame. You can't stop him from making plays. We've seen the Seahawks take away tight ends before. This is a different animal. And so if I'm the Patriots, I don't allow him to get jammed and hemmed up at the line of scrimmage. I move him around. I put him in bunch sets, put him behind guys so that you can't jam him, so that you have to play off. I take him, I flex him out wide. I do put him on Richard Sherman. I do use him as a decoy on some sets. And then I move him around. I put him in motion so you can't get a clean jam and he can get a free release and allow him to work. I think those are the keys offensively for the Patriots. Make sure that Julian Edelman and Gronkowski are the focal points of your offense, and make sure that they stay away from the Seahawks best by putting them in situations where they're allowed to take advantage of lesser oppositions in the slot. I think that's where this game could be won for the Patriots if they utilize Edelman and Gronk correctly. Now, how do I feel about this game? Last year, I made a monumental mistake. I thought that and they always tell you, defense trumps offense any day, okay? And I just felt like the Broncos offense last year was so legit. It was so powerful that this Seahawks defense had seen nothing like it the entire year, and they were in trouble. And I was wrong. And I learned my lesson from last year, but I'm not picking the Seahawks for the reason that you think. I'm picking the Seahawks because I truly believe that Marshawn Lynch is the difference in this game. I believe beast mode is the one problem that Bill Belichick can't solve. And normally, I've said this before, I'll say it again, the man is a genius because he takes away what the opposition does best. And he makes a concerted effort to do so. In this particular game, I just don't see him being able to take away what the Seahawks can do best, and that's run the football with Marshawn Lynch. Because, again, you can't devise a scheme to stop the run when you can't stop the run. And I don't think the Patriots can stop the run all that effectively. Now, they can put 8 in the box. They can challenge the Seahawks if they like. But that's going to give Russell Wilson an opportunity to have one-on-one matchups. And I know you trust Revis, and I know you trust Browner, but I think Seattle feels very confident they can win one-on-one matchups. If you want to bring 8 in the box and have a single high safety and allow these guys to get vertical, they can win one-on-one matchups, and I think they will test those waters if the Patriots are that gung-ho and that buck and think that they can come up with 8 in a box and win that way. I think the Seahawks will welcome that challenge, and I think they will succeed if they get the opportunity to do so. So I feel like the Patriots will have to stop the run with 7, and I just don't feel confident that they can do so. I think Marshawn Lynch is your MVP. I think the Seahawks rushing attack is the difference in this game. This is not a blowout. This looks nothing like last season's game. I think that the Patriots can easily win this game. The reason why it took me so long, I wanted to come out with this video on Monday, okay? I want you to know how brain-wrecking this was. I went back and forth numerous times on who I thought was going to win the game, and then I had an epiphany. I said to myself, Belichick can't take away the one thing that the Seahawks do well. He can't get his team to stop the run. If you can't stop the run, you can't stop the run. And I saw the Ravens really take it to this Patriots defense on the ground, and I thought that's what allowed the Ravens to be so successful in that game. And I think the same can be said for the Seahawks. With this defense that they'll play, we've seen the Patriots go down in this playoffs, especially to the Ravens, twice. If they get down like that against Seattle, I can't see them having similar results like they did in that game. I like the Seahawks to win this game. It's going to be a good one. 27-23, Seattle wins this game and repeats as Super Bowl champions in a thriller in Arizona. This should be a lot of fun, but I think the running game of the Seahawks is the difference in this game. So that's going to do it for my Super Bowl prediction. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fun to break it down. Enjoy the festivities, enjoy the commercials, all of the hoopla, all of the things that go along with the Super Bowl. I'm just ready for football now. At this point, I'm ready just for the game to get underway and for everything to go, and so we can just enjoy football one last time for the 2014-2015 season. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we covered it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as we will break down everything and anything that happens in this game. Should be a lot of fun. I expect this to be one of the better Super Bowls we've seen in the last 10 years. Look, there's been a lot of good football in the Super Bowl. Forget about last year. Take last year out of the equation. Just about all of these Super Bowls have been very evenly matched and really good football games. I expect this to fall closer in line with those than what we saw a season ago. Enjoy the football. Again, this is it. You don't get any more. So enjoy this football. Enjoy the festivities. Enjoy the hoopla. Enjoy your parties. Eat some chips. Knock back a cold one for me. We'll come back. We'll talk about it. Again, I want to hear all of your picks. I want to hear your analysis. I want to hear all that good stuff. Leave it in the comment section. I will respond. Enjoy everything. We'll come back and break it down later on.